4 years ago, Audirect released this Beam 3 Plus, a Bluetooth DAC amp, a Bluetooth dongle, which I have been using quite regularly for the first 3 years until it broke on me last year. Not because it was a bad product, but because of my own fault. I was clumsy and not careful with my audio gears. And interestingly enough, until today, you can still get Beam 3 Plus, but in a special trim. And the one that I have here, all clad in gold, at the metal panel here, it is even marked as MOD 25586. So MOD indicate that this is a modified version, an enhanced version. But physically, they are pretty much still identical in every way possible. Internally also identical, starting with the switch here, still the same, and the volume up and down, still the same, play and pause button, still the same, and also this gain here, which is 3 level of gain, low, medium, and high. And it also comes with this 3.5mm single-ended, 4.4mm balance. Inside, what you're gonna find is a combination of this ESS Sabre ES9281 AC Pro, still the very same thing used in this Beam 3 Plus, with different kind of tuning. At the same time, Audirect also released this tiny dongle here, which is Atom 4. Now, this is definitely different from Atom 1, 2, and 3 because this is ultra compact. It doesn't have any kind of cable, but internally, you will find the same DAC, which is ESS Sabre ES9281 AC Pro as well. With the main difference being is that this one use 2 Burr Brown op-amp and this one use Recore, which is commonly found in many modern dongle nowadays. And this thing, despite being so tiny, it packs a lot of power for VRMS and rated at 137 milliwatt of power at 32 ohm. Quite moderate, I would say. In contrast, definitely this is a lot more powerful, rated at 230 milliwatt of power at 32 ohm. And the most interesting thing about these three, especially these two here, they are capable of doing DSD 512 in native mode. Yes, you are reading me correct. And PCM 768. Even this tiny thing here, it can perform to a resolution which is normally expected from desktop DAC amp. So let's just go back to this Beam 3 Plus here. Why I am loving it so very much? Why do I want to keep on using this? I was already in love with this original Beam 3 Plus because this is perhaps one of the most natural, organic sounding ESS Sabre tuning. If you're familiar with ESS Sabre, then you would understand my perspective. Normally, ESS Sabre, especially 4 years ago, tend to be tuned kind of a bit too technical, kind of a bit clinical with the sound itself, and less organic, less musical. But this is in fact warm sounding. And when I listened to this, I was so very happy. Happy because it does retain that natural, organic timbre, analog sound, but it improves on the technicalities. It does sound like a bit more resolving now, a bit more well balanced, and yet it retains that linear neutrality which I really love. When I use it as a Bluetooth device, you see this thing supports maximum LDAC protocol. So when I connect it to my phone here, which is Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV, this one and this running LDAC, I was able to keep it running on maximum LDAC, which is at 990 kbps, which is practically almost lossless. So despite running Bluetooth, I was able to enjoy near lossless kind of sound performance, especially when I use Tidal. When running in LDAC mode in maximum resolution, the good thing is that it does not lose fidelity. When walking around, listening to my IEM here, running 4.4mm balance, I was so very happy. It is so stable. I am not losing any kind of signal, because if you're familiar with some of the LDAC protocol in TWS, then you might notice that you might lose some signal, or it gets distorted, that force you to switch to efficient mode, which means that you are no longer running at 990 kbps. When used as a portable device connected to my phone, I am not getting any kind of RF interferences, which is pretty much similar to what I'm getting from this another Audirect product which I really love, which is Audirect Team 1, which I reviewed very recently. No RF interferences like some other dongle which I have in my collection. So what does it mean? It means that you're not gonna get any kind of, let's say, that static noises when attached to your phone, because sometimes when there is something like a 3G or even 4G and 5G signal interchange, you might get static interferences, but not on this one. This Beam 3 Plus Mod Edition also provide an improvement when it comes to battery endurance, especially when compared with this older Beam 3 Plus here. With this one, I was barely able to get in excess of around maximum up to 7 hours, 6 hours at most, and I was able to get in excess of around 9 hours from this Beam 3 Plus Mod Edition. So that is definitely an improvement already. Now let's just go back to this tiny thing here. Audirect Atom 4, price much cheaper at under $70 as compared to this Beam 3 Plus, which is priced at $129. Obviously, this thing is a lot smaller, and despite being different, they are pretty much similar in many ways, especially when you consider that both of them uses the very same ESS Sabre ES9281 AC Pro, with the difference being the op-amp and of course some configuration with the power rating itself. For starters, this is definitely very simple. It does not have Bluetooth, it does not have any kind of gain control, it does not have any kind of switches at all as compared to this. And it does not have any kind of battery. It is basically as simple as you can get when it comes to dongle. It doesn't even have a cable. So when it comes to sound and performance itself, you can expect pretty much the same kind of sound tuning, which is very well balanced to be musical, analytical, and surprisingly, like I mentioned earlier, capable of resolving DSD 512 768 PCM. The differences. First and foremost, the power itself. If you have every intention to drive something like this HiFiMan Arya Unveiled here, or even this Sennheiser HD 600 here, then I would say that perhaps better to stick with this, because this thing, despite being rated at 4 VRMS from the 4.4 mm balance, is only capable of churning 137 milliwatt of power as opposed to this 230 milliwatt of power. I am hearing some differences here. So at best, I would say that keep this Atom 4 driving IEM. At maximum, something like this Sivga Nightingale here, or even Let's Shure S12 2024. No problem driving IEM. But perhaps the biggest setback for this ultra compact Atom 4 is that when I connect it to my phone like this, the first thing that I notice is that it is so very easy to pick up RF interferences as compared to this here, because this thing does not have any cable. So it is even attached closer to the phone, and it is even easier for it to pick up RF interferences. So I am hearing quite a lot of static noises, floor noises, especially when my phone is actively changing the signal between 4G to 5G. So just bear that in mind. Otherwise, putting aside the problem, putting aside all the cons, I would say that these two are simply amazing. Okay, especially if you consider that you are getting the kind of sound which is rich, which is dense, which is the kind of sound which is I consider as properly balanced between musical, analytical, yet engaging and immersive. Definitely a high recommendation from me. If you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And also please take a moment to click like here. It will really help me out. It is free, by the way. And also please follow me on Instagram, which I have set up very recently. My Instagram will be a platform for me to provide quick updates on the things that I do beyond this video. And again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.